Welcome to the Why Not Results podcast, where business owners, marketers, and decision makers come together to get real answers, discuss proven strategies, tear down the myths, and hear no fluff conversations about what actually drives growth. Today, I'm your host, Mario Lizarraga, founder of Why Not Results, and I'm excited to talk with Josh Levine from Wise Roots Marketing Agency, who specializes in geofencing and AI. As in all of my episodes, I sit down with industry leaders, marketing pros, and entrepreneurs who aren't just talking theory, they're out there getting results. So if you're tired of guessing and ready to grow, let's jump in. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, that was pretty smooth.
Enough practice there, buddy. It can work out. So hopefully, first off, let's just start. Josh, did I say Levine or is it Levine? Let's get that straight off.
Levine.
Levine.
And I hear that's if you're from the East Coast, it's Levine. If you're Chicago, it's West, it's Levine. I don't know if that's true. I've just heard it. So.
Oh, okay. I never know. I know I know Levines, and for whatever reason, it just flew out of my mouth, Levine. So I'm glad I got it accurate with you, bro. So, anyway, well, welcome. So excited to have this conversation. So, Josh, first off, let's just tell me a little bit about you, your background, how'd you get into marketing, and let's tell the world what you do, buddy.
Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've owned and operated and exploded several businesses, and exploded both ways, up and out. And the one thing that I never knew anything about, I was always a sales guy, right? Sales and operations. And I let marketing go to marketing for years and years and years. And during one of my last business failures, I had to reassess where I had spent millions of dollars in things, and mostly marketing. And then I wanted to know what did I get for that, right? Monday morning quarterback. What did I get for that? And I was like, I realized I didn't understand anything about what was happening. And I didn't like that. So I took it apart, and I was like, I need to learn everything about this. So I went to the University of YouTube. And for those of you that don't know, you can learn anything on YouTube at up to master's PhD level. And I took apart every nuance of marketing: Google Ads, SEO, pay-per-click, blogs, why we do blogs, all of that stuff, because it was all Greek to me, and I needed to understand all of it. And I interviewed people from universities who have marketing degrees, and realized they didn't know most of what they were doing. They would specialize in certain things. And I was like, I'm not that, I've always been a generalist. I need to know about all of it, enough to be dangerous. And I really took it apart and found all sorts of cool, and I'm a guerrilla marketing kind of brain, like different things that work in different niches and what works for these guys. And I talk a lot, so I talk to business owners and leaders. And I was blessed to be in the group called EO, which is Arizona Entrepreneurs Organization, and talking to those guys and what they're spending money on marketing and what worked for them and didn't work for them, I was able to really learn the ins and outs. And I said, hey, why not start a marketing company? And it quickly took off. I found a couple of niches. Um, One of my friends always says the riches are in the niches. You find that one lane that you can stick in.
Riches are in the niches. I like it.
And yeah, and um, I ended up in this geofencing world. And geofencing is something we'll get into a little bit. We can talk about. It really is my gateway drug to my marketing company. So when someone goes to my website, I look like every other marketing company. I do websites, I do blogs, I do, social media marketing. What they come to me for, where I get recommended, best leads in the world are word of mouth, right? It's geofencing. And it just so happened to be the restaurant niche that I went down. And I have other niches, like I do a lot of work with uh, orthodontists and chiropractors, and that, but really it's restaurants, because when you hear how geofencing works, it's just a natural, logical, great use of geofencing. So I don't know how you want to get into that, and then we can blow into AI.
Yeah, geofencing is definitely something that how I was introduced to you. and that's where the conversation started. I quickly learned that you nerd out on things like I do, and you're intrigued, and which gets us both into trouble, as we found out. I love talking to entrepreneurs and other, especially when you use the word serial entrepreneur. I get it. I will refer to myself that way a lot, which can be problematic. But also, we've gained a lot of experience through those life lessons, and that definitely changes the conversations when we're talking with somebody. Because to me, you ask my kids, my favorite line is, "If I'm not failing, I'm not trying hard enough." And I truly believe that. And so that's kind of what how I look at things. So for these conversations, which hopefully this is one of many, I put on the list that we're going to talk about AI, because it's such a hot topic, man. I mean, just AI, we're all over the place. On the marketing front, it's AI. Where's it at? And all, different conversations from the business front. Oh my God, you're just kind of overwhelmed. Like, this is great. It's exciting. We can save so much money. But then at the end of the day, when you go to use AI, you're like, oh shit, this is a bigger rabbit hole than I realized, and I don't have time to
Oh
go.
yeah,
And you realize you've opened Pandora's box, and it is real, and it's only growing. So the next step of learning what is applicable to your world is going to be the next art, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. AI is an art, and it's an art form, and it currently, um, I've let me see where to start. I I am one of the biggest proponents of AI. I tell everyone, I even have friends that go, "You can't fix." They'll start their conversation off. Now, don't tell me you're going to AI this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh yes, I am." Um, AI has in business is one of the greatest tools you could ever have. It's the mentor that you always wanted. It's the coach you always wanted. It's the assistant you always wanted. It can do all of those functions. And it's as good as what you ask of it. And most people have, and I myself included, you have that Google mindset. When you talk to AI, you talk like you talk to Google for a search, and you limit yourself instead of have a conversation with it and talk to it like a friend. A lot of times I'll have a colleague call me and they'll ask me if I can get AI to do all these things. And I just take that entire conversation, drop it in, and before we're done talking, I have the answer they wanted. They already asked the questions. And that's how you have to remember AI is just there to help. It's it has access to the world's encyclopedia of everything, and it can do all of these things. The
And I
secret
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say the secret is prompt engineering, and that sounds like a fancy term. It's just good way to ask. Ask the question in the right way. Give AI the context. That's the thing I never see anybody do. Give it the context. If
Totally.
you say, so if you start a blank prompt, blank, that's, let me go back to that. AI has no instruction manual and drives people crazy. You get to ChatGPT and they're like, I have it. I'll have people go, I think I have it on my phone, and they downloaded it and they pay $19.99 a month for it. And they go, where's a good place to eat? What's a funny thing I can say?
Mhm.
Oh, see, I use AI. That's what they do. Instead of going, hey, I own a marketing company and I'm
But
going to meet with this client.
But I'm going to stop you there, because the reality is, for the average person out there who's not in a marketing company or has a real deep dive need, the masses are going to use it just like you just described. They're not going to talk it into Google search anymore. They're going to put in an AI search, and
It's,
and so that's the big lesson for the businesses out there. Like, majority of the people are not going to use it like the business owners, but the business owners better start using it as a business owner, right? It's a different set of context. It's a different set of details, and learning what you're referring to. This prompt engineering, it is real, and that is the art.
yeah, and I call it DJ. I never respected the DJ. I'm a musician, all right? I played guitar since I was a kid, and I would see like a couple years back when DJs all of a sudden was like, this DJ's making $5 million to appear at this club, and I'm like, what? He's not a musician. The beauty was, and people would say, yeah, but he puts together a great set list. So you and I know what this means. Oh, he makes a good mixtape. Woo. This guy's getting paid, tons of money for this. Now I get the DJ because that's what prompting is.
You put the best set of things together to ask the question. I'll give you an example. You are having a personal crisis. Can you
Drop
afford
this.
Anthony? Can you afford Anthony Robbins to come talk to you? Yes, you can, because AI knows everything about all of the teachings of Anthony Robbins ever. So if you say, I'm having a crisis, this is what it is. What would Anthony Robbins do? I challenge you to prompt that right now, and you will have the full Anthony Robbins description of what you should do in your particular situation. And people just don't get that. They don't get that if you give it the context of what you want and who, so those business leaders you want to talk to, those industry experts you want to talk to, if they wrote a book, AI knows what it is, and it's incredible.
Well, and and that's another thing that I love about this whole podcasting thing, right? The situation, because it's so easy for you and I to be an expert in whatever field we're in, have this conversation, and like you said, it's picking up that transcript. Once that transcript's posted out there, it is, whether it's blogs or however you're putting it out there, AI potentially is picking it up if you're optimizing it correctly.
I got one for you, and it's like, I mean, we're all busy. Life's busy, right? Some people can sit and watch or listen to two hour podcasts every day. I literally will take the link to here's the YouTube link, and then go, give me a summary and the key takeaways from this 2 hour podcast, and it'll say industry leader blank says this. Okay, how can I use that in my business? Here are great examples of how you could use that in your business. Cool. And I got all that knowledge I needed in a minute.
Right.
And
But you also prompted it, right?
yes, exactly. And I know that I get accused of oversimplify, because I do. I oversimplify. And someone will say, like, how do you learn to write these prompts? Ask AI. Ask it. If you say to AI, I want to be better at my job. It'll be, I do this and I want to be better at my job. What would you instruct me? And oh, by the way, I know I'm speaking like an idiot. Make this a perfect prompt. And it will do that for you.
Totally.
It'll create the prompt and then say, how can I improve this prompt? I like what you did. I want to improve it. And it will just keep drilling down and drilling down. And you'll see things you like and don't like, and that's okay. Fix it. Like,
The quickest lessons I have learned in it is if I don't know, that's when I go to AI to ask some questions to tell me what I don't know, right? And then
exactly.
see the output. Okay, that's close. And then, like you're saying, drill down, keep addressing the prompt, keep asking it to just drill down little by little by little, and then voila, woo, there it
And that's
is.
the thing, Mario. I learn every time I use it. I learn something new every single time I use it. I have a dear friend and colleague that I speak with about AI all the time, Dean Batson. He's a professor. He's ASU. He used to be the marketing director for Casino Arizona. He's like me with AI. He's like pioneer, trying all new apps come out. He tries four of them. I try four of them, and then we have our notes and go, which one did you like? What was worth? Because
That's the biggest
man, they'll
challenge right now.
1990 these guys will 1999 you a month to
Oh
death.
my! Well, and there's so many that are coming out that seem to address a very niche problem, right? And so it's kind of like, which ones do you need? And I really think that's going to be the future. Is going to be the master of the tools, and the tools being these AI tools. And now, oh my God, I have AI agents, and it sounds like you're using these a lot more, going from tool to tool to tool to tool. You know, right? How much?
Yeah,
Let's touch base a little bit on AI agents. How familiar? How much are you using those guys?
oh, I'm building my own agents. So it's like I learned to code and create my own desktop agents from AI. I did not go to school for coding, and I'm writing 5,000 line code scripts to build tools to analyze 50,000 line Excel spreadsheets that I would have never been able to do in my life. But I taught myself to code with AI, like in a month, And again, it wasn't a class. It was literally, I told AI, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about Python. I don't know how to use it. I'm a baby. Walk me through it.
I don't
And
even
it,
think most people know the word Python, right?
yeah.
I don't even.
And
I realize it's like I believe that's a coding language, but I don't know.
it kept whenever I would ask it how to do something, it would start writing me script, and I knew it was coding, but I'm like, what is this? I don't know what this is. And it literally, and that's the thing. People hit walls and you're not at a wall. It will figure it out. So now one of the biggest things I'm doing is building agents for clients. So a client will tell me a problem they're having, and I'll be like, "Oh, I can build you an agent for that." I'll give you an example. I have a client that has they were having a problem with their close rate. Their sales guys were going in and they couldn't close, and he didn't know why. They track that. Their close rate was like historically 70-75%, and this year it's 50. And they're like, nothing really changed. It's not an economic issue. It's not, we don't know what it is. And he said, we record all of our conversations. I said, I can take all of your scripts throughout the day of everything your sales guy said, listen to the prospect, and then coach them on what they did wrong. For this example, I used the Sandler system, if you know what that is. The Sandler,
I don't.
it's a sales system. So I said, based on the principles of the Sandler system, why did this conversation not end with a sale? And they're like, oh, that's a cool prompt. I'm like, it's not a prompt now. It will do it every single night. At the end of the day, it will take all of the conversations, coach the coach your salespeople on what happened, what didn't happen, what could they have done better. Oh, by the way, and speak to them in their own. Do you know what love languages are?
Yes.
So his employees, he knows their types. So he had them. So we don't want to be big brother ogre coming
That's
down
so
on these
smart.
people.
Communicating that feedback the way they want to hear it. That's brilliant.
Exactly. So now it does that automatically and emails them at the end of the night, each sales guy going, hey, great job. You did fantastic on this, this, and this. You know what you could have done better next time is this. And it's an agent
Okay.
that now is their
Okay.
sales manager.
Okay, so walk me through I understand the concept that of what you're the problem you're addressing and the solution you brought to the table for this client. Do me a favor if you don't mind. Peel back a little bit of okay, where did you go? Start at the beginning of okay, how did you start this process with this thing called an AI agent? Because people they're really familiar with AI, more or less the AI agent concept, I'd say, right?
The agent, so AI is really great at making you, I call it, I use a term that we probably shouldn't use it, but I said making you the jerk that does the work. So you go to AI, hey, I needed a social media post, and it types out like 10 great social media posts, and you're like, ooh, I like these three. Now now you're cutting and pasting and going to Facebook, Meta, and entering all the information faster and lightning speed. If we could have had this years ago, this lightning speed. However, why can't it just then go enter it? Truly be an employee, truly be your social media manager. Well, it can. So an agent takes that prompt, takes the social media um, the social media post it made, and then logs into your account, goes in, schedules or posts the post, executes it, and then does the work. That's what the agent does. So it's basically giving permissions to do all of these things and automations. So when you think of it like an agent, it's call it an employee. That's what it is.
Right.
It works for you. And where I think the wars will be won in AI and technology and business, it's going to be he with the most agents wins. Like someone like, I might go, I have, like currently right now, I have 8 people working for me, 7 of which are robots. And when I say the robots, they're the bots. I just built a bot to do that, a bot to do that, a bot to do that.
And what platform
And
are you using to build these bots?
all of the above. So I use ChatGPT, Claude, um, Perplexity. Um, I'm using Quen. That's one probably a lot of people haven't heard of. That's the one that Alibaba has. Quen and gosh, what else are we using now? These are the primaries.
So are you
And
and you're using different ones at different stages throughout
different
this building?
models.
Or,
Yeah.
or just specific, you're staying with ChatGPT for this complete model? Or are you taking, because I'm finding them taking some information out of one model, putting it into another model at the right times for different
It,
things?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how we're now structuring everything. It'll be like, okay, we want Claude Opus to be the writer because it writes more human. Oh, by the way, I always love when someone will say to me, I can tell when that's written by AI. Yeah, I agree with you. I can make it where you can't. And it's very simple. Have you ever written anything before? Have you ever written, I mean, anything, your emails, a letter to a friend, blah, blah, blah. Take all of those, put them into one text and say, this is how I write. Oh, by the way, here's my interview from the podcast. This is how I speak. This is how I talk. Now make